Hi, and welcome, Denise, from Container CHIq.
Yes.
Excited to have you here on our Fireside Chat series with Container xChange. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be your guest today. When Angelo reached out to me, my support there at xChange, I'm always a yes if I can support my partners.
So
Yeah,
happy to hear.
Yeah, you've been a great support. Your team has been a great support, and anything that we can do to support your growth as well, we're a yes.
I love to hear that, Denise. Thank you so much. Look, I think in this series, what we'd love to do is just have an open conversation, a little bit about sort of your origins. How did you get into the business? What led you to sort of the interesting and exciting world of containers? Learn a little bit more about your business, and then, of course, how you see the market right now. What are trends? What are challenges that you see? And what do you expect for 2025? At least that's sort of the plan of this series.
Great. Again, thank you again for the ask. And I just have to preface this by saying if you had asked me 3-4 years ago that I would be in the space of shipping containers, I would have said you're absolutely crazy, because there was no space in my life that indicated that I'd be here. So, and it's been a wonderful ride. I've been in the shipping container space since the latter part of 2020 and 2021.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of COVID, I realized that people wanted to work out at home. They just didn't have the space. So I designed a home gym from shipping containers.
Okay. And yeah. Now we're getting closer to.
Now we're getting close, right? Yeah. So that's kind of how I stepped in.
Uh-huh.
So anybody that's listening to this, you can do this too. And this is where I think you come in, Christian. My first purchase for these containers was a fraud. And as you know, there's a lot of fraud in this industry. And I don't exactly know why, but it's there, right? And there's fraud everywhere, but it's prevalent in this industry. And so I lost a significant amount of money overnight. And what ended up happening after that is I did a deep dive in the shipping container industry, and I just saw the demand. I saw what the space looked like, and I just jumped in. And really, I think I mentioned to you this just in conversation. Where I'm at today has unfolded very organically. And it continues to open with ease. And I told myself that I would only grow if I would have better sourcing partners, because at that time I only had one source.
How did you find that source? I'm curious. Like, how did you get into that especially after that experience with the fraud?
Right. Well, what's really interesting, Christian, is it's like I said, organically. When I made the decision, someone I knew called me and said, because I had dabbled in the container industry, and prior to that I was selling containers a little bit, and I was working on a container home. And I met someone in Northern California, and that person called me and said, Denise, I'm going to give you these rates out of like nowhere. So it was really like, or it was organic. Yeah. So I said, thank you. And at the time I thought those were great rates. I had no idea that it was still a high rate, but I didn't know. I took the rate and I ran with it. And then one thing after another, I said, I'm going to, I just really put the intention of finding more sources, finding people closer to the source, not necessarily buying from resellers, although that's fine, but I just really, the focus was get the costs down low as possible. Yeah. And then here comes a container exchange. This, awesome. this message slid into my email box, into my inbox, and I said, and that's how it started.
Okay. Okay. Cool. And tell me a little bit about your current setup. So you're still sort of based in and around Long Beach. Tell me a little bit more about how you currently operate. What's your business?
So at the time, it was just me. And so as I'm now getting to understand the platform of Container XChange, and Angelo was also help on board. So that was the first touch I had with Angelo, he's fantastic. Yeah, big thumbs up to Angelo. I very focused, and then I told myself, you're not going to grow until you really know the industry. And then you might ask, well, how do you find your buyers?
Mm-hmm.
And oddly enough, I'd say 90% of our customer base comes from social media, which blows me away because I've never purchased any paid marketing.
Mm-hmm.
And
wow.
I have a very simple website. Because I come from I kind of outlined where I came from, because where I'm at now, it's kind of a culmination of all of the things I've done in my past. And I like it. I'm comfortable.
Okay.
It's fun.
Okay.
It's
and
fun.
so you, so how does it work now? Sort of walk me through that a little bit, sort of practically. So you wake up in the morning, so to speak, or at the beginning of the week, and you create your pricing sheet. So you check out, okay, what's the availability, what are the prices in the market, and then you market that through social media. And once you have a buyer, that's when you sort of purchase or procure the assets, for example, through xChange.
Correct. One of the things that we focused on, in our minds, it doesn't matter where we find a client. We treat them like a Nordstrom. Mm-hmm. Because we feel that the biggest challenge in this industry is trust. So what we do is establish trust as soon as we can. So people respond to our ads on a daily basis, multiple times a day, mm-hmm. about purchasing a container. Mm-hmm. And it's across all platforms. And because social media is so prevalent, it has a broad range of demographics. Mm-hmm. So because we're doing it this way, we haven't been too specific yet, but we've hit a broader range of a client base. So where we are today is that, again, 300-mile radius. Yes, we do provide services in other parts of the country, mm-hmm. but the focus has been get very good at what we do within a specific geographic location. And I believe we've achieved that. And now it's time to grow. So because this business was kind of a bootstrap, mm-hmm. right? It's still very cumbersome. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that we do that are very manual. Yeah. And finding the right source. I get emails. We get emails every day on a daily of what containers are available and where they're available and what parts of the country. Yeah. So that's a job in and of itself to manage who has what. Gotcha. And over the last year and 2 years, we've now established a good maybe 10 to 12 trusted suppliers. So mm-hmm. now we know, and we also communicate on xChange and on outside of xChange. And mm-hmm. I have to tell you, I like the idea that we can have that variation.
Of course, yeah.
That you help us establish the relationship without having the risk of fraud mm-hmm. or losing that money. Mm-hmm. That gives the buyer a real sense of security. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we treat all of our clients like they're Nordstrom, and we establish, that we're trusted. And then all through the cycle, the logistics cycle, is once we establish the sale, then Shayna, Captain of Customer Joy, handles the logistics. So it's mm-hmm. a really good handoff for us to have that while I'm at the forefront seeing other opportunities to grow.
Gotcha.
So,
Oh, gotcha.
so did I answer your question?
Yeah, yes, yeah, absolutely. It's very fascinating. Well, if you say sort of avenues for growth or opportunities for growth, what's your plan for the next year? Like, where do you see particular opportunities for you, for the market, and what are challenges that you see where you think that you have to navigate those?
I think that there's a great opportunity in this industry for so many things, because I'm in the United States, and I believe that the United States hasn't even scratched the surface of how we can use containers. There's so many multiple uses, multiple industries, specifically housing, affordable housing. Huge in California, tiny houses, right? So where we are now is, I've mentioned that we were kind of a bootstrap. So I also, Shana and I, if we were to turn on multiple locations throughout the country, we would be miserable on this side because we're not automated enough. There's too many manual processes. So what's really interesting right now, Christian, is you're catching Container CHIq, and we're resetting right now. And I go by the adage that sometimes you have to slow down to speed up. Everything is done through Pages and through Google Drives, and it's just too cumbersome.
Yes. Yeah.
Too cumbersome.
Okay, but that sounds amazing. And in terms of the market, so I mean, we all know Trump has been elected. Is going to be inaugurated for his second term in January. That's of course a driver. Then we have sort of more geopolitical events, tensions in the Middle East, and sort of trade disputes with China and whatnot.
Right.
Sort of how do you look at that, and how do you assess what kind of impact that has on your business, and how does that feed into your strategy or your thoughts for the next year?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you. I'll first share my personal belief. I can't control anything outside of anyone I can touch. What happens outside of my personal environment, I have no control over. So that's why always I want Container CHIq to always be on the focused on the human aspect and the personal touch, because oftentimes we tell our clients we don't care if they purchase a container from us, and people are like, yeah, right, but we don't. What we strive to do is build trust and to build a relationship. And my belief is, if you can build a trusting relationship with somebody, then you can do cool things together. So that will be our focus. Well, one of the things that we've done is that we've diversified a little bit, a lot of it actually. So not only do we buy and sell containers, but we also have partnered with a beautiful group of people overseas, and we now have a line of container homes, prefabricated container homes, and we also have the ability to custom build. So I think I explained that I'm not keen on having a physical office or a physical warehouse, but we will have a showroom. That decision was just made, right? So we won't be 100% reliant on the containers itself. Because there's such an enormous need for affordable living, specifically in California. That's another very big opportunity for us. So that's how I see it. And so what are you going to do if these tariffs go, right? Because 90% of the containers come from overseas China. We're just going to have to move with the industry. I mean, we don't know. Nobody knows what it's going to look like, but people are still going to need the containers. There's still going to be a need. Our profit margins might be lower, but but as a business model, my overhead is low because I don't have an office. I
Yeah.
don't have a depot. I
Yeah.
don't keep a depot. I have no interest in having a depot. It's just too much overhead, and I just don't see the need when I can have a group of sales associates and people like Shayna that can,
Mhm.
you know, spread the joy of buying a container, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
as a result of that, we've gotten wonderful referrals. So now we're starting to see a lot more referrals because, wow, this client, they found someone that they can trust.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we want to just keep that foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. So if I were to summarize, sort of, it's like stay nimble, stay flexible, stay agile in order to take advantage of opportunities when they come, and not run the risk of, I don't know, adverse price changes if you have a stock of containers, for example.
Correct.
Yeah.
I want the goal is to keep the overhead low and to always stay nimble. And as a small business, you can pivot. I can pivot, you know, from being an integrative wellness coach to being in the shipping container
Yeah,
industry.
100%, 100%. This is awesome. Okay, cool. Look, I think this was very, very fascinating. If somebody maybe as a last question, sort of from my end, if somebody approaches you for advice and says, "Hey, Denise, you know, I'm interested in these steel boxes. I'd like to sort of get into the business." What would be your kind of advice? What would you say? Where to get started? How to get started?
I'd first ask why.
Mm-hmm.
I'd first ask why. Because again, from a sustainable aspect, I don't do this just for money. Money will come if you found a niche of doing something you like,
Mm-hmm.
right? I would say if you like it, I've introduced people to it, actually. I've
Mm-hmm.
introduced a handful of people, and I look forward to introducing more people as my systems are more automated, because right now it's a little clunky. It's a little, you know, it's a little rudimentary. I would say find good partners.
Mm-hmm.
I would say find good partners and focus on the long game of building strong relationships. Because if you're just in it for a transactional buy sell, I don't think it's sustainable. And don't do too much. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of opportunity, but get really good at one thing first before you branch out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and if you're going to build a team that also has those same feelings and has that same drive, that enjoys it. You know, Shayna she's a stay-at-home mom. She's a
Mm-hmm.
stay-at-home mom. I've known her for over 10 years, and she absolutely loves it. She had no knowledge of containers, so I taught her. As I'm learning quickly, I'm
Yeah.
teaching.
Yeah. Yeah.
And soon, as we grow, Shayna will be in a position to then teach. So there's still so much I personally don't know about the industry, and personally, you know, some of the associations. You know, I think I'm also just scratching the surface,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
to be quite frank. And there's much more to learn, and I just jump in. Don't be afraid. I would say to the people, you know, you can't really screw up. I mean, sure, I lost, you know, over $11,000 in one transaction overnight.
Yeah. Yeah.
And someone in the industry stepped in and helped me recover it. And during the recovery of that loss, that's
Yeah.
how I kind of did a deep dive into shipping containers.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's very good advice, sort of, for any entrepreneur in any industry. Sort of, you know, make sure that you do it for the right reasons and that you have the passion, and then, yeah, don't be afraid to jump in. I think
Yeah.
this is excellent. Cool.
Yeah.
thank you so much, Denise. This was an absolute pleasure talking to you and learning about your business, your journey so far. And yeah, I'm very, very excited to see what lies ahead. And I hope we can continue to support and help you grow in 2025 and beyond.
And vice versa, Christian. If there's anything that we can do, we believe that partnerships are a reciprocation. You know, it's a back and forth thing. And I've seen what Container XChange has done, and what you continue to do to improve your services, and that speaks to the partnership. You're always looking to, like, just this platform right here.
Yeah,
you know, you're wanting to add value and hear from your people. I think that's wonderful. And if there's anything conversely that we can do for you, we're here as your thought partner as well.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Denise. We'll take you up on that.
All right, awesome. Come visit California.
We'll do. Thanks a lot.
All right, thanks, Christian.